So whether it sounds like something else I've heard, or I've heard a wee snatch of this in passing, but it just has a very, very faintly rung bell somewhere over in the East Wing, which is haunted of the Memory Palace. um,
I'm surprised they aren't renovating it to turn it into a ballroom.
yeah, yeah. Many, many people say it's well overdue. Best ballroom in the world, universe of all time ever. Um, Please, mummy, say I'm a special boy. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. Is there a place I can go? Is there a light to get me there? If I've forgotten what to say, it's because all words are dust. More on that later. But first, we have a track to listen to today, selected by brother Andy. What have you got for us?
I've got a group called Mike Snow. Have you ever heard of this group called Mike Snow? And it's Mike with two eyes, oddly enough.
No.
No, okay, all right. Look like you were thinking there for a second. I had
There
Greg,
is
go ahead.
I know somebody who has a name very similar to that with two eyes in it, and it's pronounced Miike,
Is it their surname or is it their first name?
first name.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, the band goes out of the way to emphasize that it is pronounced Mike, or else I would be like, yeah, maybe that is how you pronounce it.
No, it's just funny that you
Yeah,
said that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I had Greg check out a song by them called Genghis Khan, way back when we were on Into the Music. And that was one of the group's later tracks. But this is probably their breakthrough track, if you will. And it's one called Animal. So I'd like you to go check out Animal by Mike Snow and then come back and let me know your thoughts.
Def Leppard cover. Interesting.
There was a time when my world was filled with darkness, darkness, darkness. Then I started.
Interesting start to your stabbing synthesized sound, and then it's joined by another one, and then by a third. So you get this 1, 2, 3, and then it breaks down to 1, 2, 3 again. And they've got reverb on, particularly the first one, and the effect is you almost get this sort of resonance, like that whoop you get in a car when the windows open. It's a bit like that, but probably slower. Yeah. And your man's come in, and with it is a very muffled beat, the old cushion in the bass drum. And his voice has got plenty of filters on it as well. So it's all sounding quite studio-led sound, kind of indie pop, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
Dreaming now I'm supposed to fill it up with something, something, something. In your eyes I see the eyes of somebody I knew before, long, long, long ago. But I'm still trying to make my mind up. Am I free or am I tied up? I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. There is a hole and I tried to fill it up with more.
That must have been the chorus. You got these interesting drum sort of fills. I don't know if they're physical or if they're electronic. They've got a bit of that sort of program nature about them. They could well be real. I'm not sure, but it's all very interesting. The melody of the verse kind of feels familiar, but I don't think I've ever heard of these guys before. There's something about it. It's very bright and breezy, and you've got all these echoing elements. So you're the stubbing, and then the vocals as well are doing that. So you get this sort of staggered echoing motif all the way through it. It's interesting. And in the chorus, there was like a synth line that was sort of almost like a 70s synth line that way, been sampled by hip hop guys, you know. Yeah, really interesting. Okay.
Money, money, money. But it gets bigger till your horse is always running, running, running. In your eyes, I see the eyes of somebody who could be strong. Tell me if I'm wrong, wrong. And now I'm pulling your disguise up. Are you free or are you tied up? I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal.
I don't know why this could all be a band playing, but it sounds all like it's been made in a studio. Just maybe my state of mind. But yeah, that second verse, there was some really nice sort of percussion work going on. And then the second chorus, I think there was a bit of glockenspiel, there's some nice sort of chiming notes ringing out. And then we go back to this. And I'm guessing the three different sounds, one's supposed to represent sort of like synthy, one's supposed to be guitar, one's supposed to be like horns, I think. That's what they sound a bit like. It could all be the guys just playing instruments, but I don't think it is. But maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think it grew on me as it went along. Actually, it has quite a bit of charm to it. Um, I do not know when this was, but if I was guessing, it may be noughties or even later. Um, has that thing with that sort of indie poppy sound with the group vocals and singing about yourself all the time. It feels a bit like that sort of, you know, that era. But yeah, they definitely sort of like, I like the sort of bridgy bit with the sort of keyboard. Uh, they kept repeating the motif, but in different sounds. Um, and it kind of wins you over with its charm at the end, I think. Um, yeah, nothing like amazing, but just really quite a charming little ditty. Um, it feels it feels like it's yeah, not British, maybe not even American. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to find out where these guys are from. So we need to find out. So let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, John. So you are back. What did you make of this track "Animal" by Mike Snow?
Right, fucking Def Leppard. Um, so the song opens and continues with this sort of stabbing motif from a keyboard sound, slightly reverbed as well. And then it's joined by two others. And it's kind of like a building block, steps 1, 2, and 3. So that comes in, then the both come in, and all three, and then back to the start, and 1, and then 2, and then 3. And I think from later on in the song, I gathered that, I mean, I think, I'm not sure about the origins of some of the sounds in this song, whether they are, for want of a better phrase, organic or manufactured from a keyboard or laptop, whatever. But I think these are definitely synthetic, and they sound are supposed to represent a keyboard, and then I think a guitar, and then horns. That's the kind of soundish they sound like, but they're definitely synthetic in origin. The overall effect of these doing this rotation is you get a bit of that wub wub that you hear in a car when one window is only down. Um, you get this resonance through the air moving at lower speeds, to the outside. And this is, you get a bit of that, this sort of weird phasing wub wub sort of phenomenon. There's just at a lower speed than if you're bombing along at 80 in the Vauxhall Corsa. So in come the vocals, and it has a sort of indie pop feel to it with plenty of filter on the vocals as well, adding to the overall feel. The stabbing instruments are also then joined with this very muffled beat, the old cushion and the bass drum effect,
Yeah.
or somebody doing it with like a closed mouth. It's that sort of sound, and the overall with that and the stabbing, it lends this sort of stepping ska beat almost to the song that's very sort of sing-songy, hop along, sort of, bouncy. And he sings, "There was a time when my world was filled with darkness. Um, and the extra vocals kick in with the repeated words, the second and third iterations of darkness. And that technique repeats itself in the next times of this verse and then throughout the whole song as well at various different bits. So you get these continued motifs of threes. So the three beats, they come in 3 bits. You get the 3 words repeated with the echoes of it. So that's very, and that goes again through the whole song as well, which is again interesting to listen to. Yeah, and we also get within that verse some really nice drum decoration in terms of these fills. Um, I'm not sure at this point if these drums are real or if they're Memorex, as the phrase goes. Um, I have this overall feeling, though, once we finish the first verse, that the melody of the verse is familiar, but I've definitely not heard this band before. So whether it sounds like something else I've heard, or I've heard a wee snatch of this in passing, but it just has a very, very faintly rung bell somewhere over in the East Wing, which is haunted of the Memory Palace. um,
I'm surprised they aren't renovating it to turn it into a ballroom.
yeah, yeah. Many, many people say it's well overdue. Best ballroom in the world, universe of all time ever. Um, Please, mummy, say I'm a special boy. So the bright and breezy voiced chorus comes in, and they assert that despite changing shapes and whatnot, they are still an animal. And I don't think they mean particular Muppet, which is a pity. Behind all this, and it's a very nice and again, really, I say bright and breezy. It's a very sort of sing-alongy, cheerful type of chorus. Behind all this, there's this synth line going on, which sounds very 70s, almost what we would now call P-funk, and it kind of reminds me of that James Brown line from Fred Wesley that I had you listen to, the one that Public Enemy sampled
Mhm.
in their Public Enemy number one. It didn't quite do that, but it's got that same tone to it, which is really nice, sort of like analog synth, a little bit scuzzy and fucked up, and just sounds all the better for it, rather than the horrifyingly clean and antiseptic 80s keyboards.
Exactly.
um, so chorus, second verse, he refers to money and horses, which is always a lovely combination, and nothing ever bad happens there. With some added percussion, it's kind of like this sort of very tinny sound on those hi-hat cymbals or whatever it is. But it adds to the sort of almost like a galloping effect of you racing through it with that sort of scar type beat thing. So you're hop skipping and jumping through it. The drum fills in this verse are really nice, and they vary in content, which makes me think perhaps it is a real person. Course returns, and on the second run through, we are treated to the silvery tones of a glockenspiel, I believe.
Mm.
Um, those tinkling tones add a certain sort of whimsy to the song as well. So the charm factor of this song is starting to work on me against my better judgment. We then get to the kind of bridge with another keyboard part, which to my ears has got some of that almost vintage pianola sound, that sort of tone, with just some humming underneath, which is a little bit creepy, but Um, it all has a built-in veneer of kind of melancholy to it, or perhaps more sort of remorseful nostalgia kind of vibe to it. It's kind of looking back sort of thing. The keyboard at this point then morphs into like again this fuzzy line, which again sounds more analogy synthy from the 70s, and we get some more of this wub wub effect as well. So they're changing the tone of their stuff, not necessarily what they're doing or the melody or the structure, but they're changing how they do it as they go all the way through. So we get another brace of choruses with that 70s synth line emerging clear at the end of it for all to hear really, really well now. And then we then go backwards through the phases to the start and those three building blocks and finishes it against the song. So yeah, this did grow on me. It does have that sort of indie pop feel.
Yep.
With that kind of self-centered introspection that doesn't know the irony of itself, which was like the noughties into the teens sort of period. It also felt, I don't think the clue from the spelling of it, but it did feel like something that wasn't UK or US, a certain other influence as well. But yeah, so tell me more about the band and
Yeah.
this stuff. I don't remember what you gave me on what you gave Greg on Into the Music. It didn't stick in my head. So
No, that's fair. It's been forever ago anyway, so it's
yeah,
no expectations there, but I just wanted to make a point to say that we did cover them once on the other channel, but you weren't a part of it, so no expectations there from me to you. But I'm glad you gave this a go. I had a similar experience with a song where, like, if you described it to me, I'd probably be like, what? But then when you hear it, it just fucking bores its way into your goddamn head and it becomes like an earworm. But go ahead, John.
Yeah, sorry. One thing I also wanted to mention, it has a certain, I said, whimsy to it.
Yeah.
So there's a song which doesn't sound the same, but kind of reminds me in the sort of the way they come across. And that's that Peter, Bjorn, and John song, that Young Folks. It
Yeah.
has that kind of feel to it as well. That's a little bit oddball and quirky, but you like it anyway type feel.
More on that later. Actually, it's funny you mention it. Let's get into it. Mike Snow, they're an indie pop trio formed in Stockholm in 2007, consisting of Swedish production and songwriting duo Bloodshy and Avant.
I can't remember the line, but isn't it in Die Hard or Die Hard 2 when they're sitting there and he goes, "Oh, and it's like the Stockholm syndrome," and the one that he's with goes, "Yeah, and that's in Norway." And something like that. Oh, I'll have to look it up. But yeah, it just always reminds me of that. Sorry.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, they're Bloodshine Avant, whose actual names are Christian Carlson and Pontus Winberg, are two-thirds of the group, and the other third is an American named Andrew Wyatt. So the band often uses as its logo the silhouette of a jackalope because, of course, they do. Do you guys have the lore of the jackalope? Has anyone ever talked like, is that a thing in the UK at all?
That that sounds like the amalgamation of two or three endangered species pulped together to make a really sinister meal for billionaires.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've never heard of a jackalope.
Okay, a jackalope is basically a rabbit with deer antlers and fangs, like vampiric canine teeth.
Right.
So yeah, of course, right? Yeah. Um, so they have released three studio albums. Their self-titled Mike Snow in 2009, Happy to You in 2012, and the three lowercase i's in a row that came out in 2006. Swedish band members Christian Carlson and Pontus Winberg were childhood friends who spent time playing in bands and working on various projects and studios around Gothenburg. Carlson was a former member of the Swedish hip hop band Goldmine, who toured with the Fugees. After they both moved to Stockholm separately, they reunited in 2000 and formed the production and songwriting duo Bloodshy and Avant. Bloodshy and Avant have enjoyed a significant amount of success as producers and songwriters, working with the likes of Madonna, Kylie Minogue, Kellis, and Sky Ferreira, as well as winning the Grammy Award for Best Dance Recording for the Britney Spears song Toxic. So how about that? Yeah,
That
exactly.
is a banger. I don't care what you say. That is a banger.
I know I've heard you say that before, so I was kind of like, oh, wait till he gets a load of this. In 2004, while writing an album for Spears, they met American singer and songwriter Andrew Wyatt. He later recalled in 2009, I was in Sweden visiting, and someone told me that I should hook up with these two guys. Actually, it turns out I'd met Christian in the studio maybe a year before, but we only actually recently remembered that. Mike Snow have remixed tracks for the likes of Depeche Mode, Passion Pit, Pete Bjorn and John, Kings of Leon, I Blame Coco, and Vampire Weekend. And their music has been remixed by Mark Ronson, Crookers, Pete Bjorn and John, Treasure Fingers, Tyga, Caspa, Style of Eye, MLK, Fake Blood, Benny Blanco, Savage Skulls, Netsky, Hood Internet, and DJ Medi, among others. Mike Snow, the band's eponymous debut album, was recorded in Stockholm and released in the United States on June 9th of 2009 by Downtown Records. A deluxe edition was released on the iTunes store in the US and Australia on April 13th of 2010 and in Japan on May 26th of the same year, including remixes of past tracks The Rabbit. The Guardian spoke highly of the band, saying Mike Snow's coolly emotional pop suggests Aha meets Animal Collective. In an interview for ClashMusic.com, Wyatt revealed their unexpected popularity, saying, I don't think our project was that thought out when we started. We just wanted to make music together, three people just messing about. I don't think we anticipated the level of attention that it's getting right now. We didn't even think about touring when we started the album. Applauding its catchiness and pop sound, critics were positive towards Animal. Following its release, the single managed to peak at number 50 in Scotland and number 98 on the UK singles chart. It was later certified platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA. The Punk's Jump Up remix of Animal is used as the theme music for the British Channel 4 sitcom Friday Night Dinner. The second single was Black and Blue. Both singles have made the BBC Radio 1 playlist B list. Go ahead, John.
Friday Night Dinner. We came to that program quite late, only in the last about a year ago. And when you watch it it's on Netflix, you have the option to skip the opening credits,
And so you do.
which my other half insists on doing every time. Why are we watching this? So I can honestly say it doesn't ring any bells. That may have been where I've heard a snatch of it before. It may have been that, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah,
well, the next time y'all are watching it, you can tell her just one time so I can see what this remix
exactly
is like. That's great. Animal received a positive response from music critics. Natalie Kay of contactmusic.com described it as a solid pop song before adding that the infectious chorus is irrefutably something you'll end up whistling in the shower. Similarly, Ian Wade of BBC Music commented that it takes approximately one play for its catchiness to cluster bomb your memory bank. And John Bergstrom of Pop Matters called it sharp, catchy, pure pop, with a chorus that charms its way into your brain. Sounds like a similar experience was had by you, John. Rudy Clapper of Sputnik Music commented, Rudy Clapper of Sputnik Music commended lead singer Wyatt's chameleonic vocals, calling them a highlight from the beginning. Clapper concluded Animal bounces along a deceptively catchy progression to a jangly chorus that hits immediate pop pay dirt. Neil Ashman of Drowned Sound commented that it boasts a number of indelible hooks worked around its staccato synth blasts. Sam Richards of The Enemy viewed Animal as an impressive piece of sleight of hand and compared its sound to that of the Police while remaining bearable. Wonder how he feels about the Police. Ben Hogwood of Music OMH said that it sounds like a Lost Police song given a new vividly colored change of clothes. He felt that the lyrical vignettes and hooks seem awkward during the first listen and gloriously different the next. So, speaking of these lyrics, let's jump into them. There was a time when my world was filled with darkness, darkness, darkness. And I stopped dreaming now. I'm supposed to fill it up with something, something, something. In your eyes, I see the eyes of somebody I knew before, long, long, long ago. But I'm still trying to make my mind up. Am I free or am I tied up? I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. There is a hole and I try to fill it up with money, money, money. But it gets bigger till your hopes is always running, running, running. In your eyes, I see the eyes of somebody who could be strong. Tell me if I'm wrong. And now I'm pulling your disguise up. Are you free or are you tied up? I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. I'm still an animal. I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. I change shapes just to hide in this place, but I'm still an animal. Nobody knows it but me when I slip. Yeah, I slip. I'm still an animal. So, written by the band alongside Heinrich Johnbach, Animal is a pop song with instrumentation provided by horns and staccato synthesizers. In an interview with Dustin Fitzharris of Out, Wyatt explained that the song has an ambiguous meaning. It can deal with addiction, it can deal with just the basic instincts. Some of them are wonderful and some of them are very dangerous. In a separate interview with Joe Zada of Clash, Wyatt deemed it a very simple song and elaborated on its subject matter, directing your attention to man's underlying nature and how sometimes things in society just don't work out to meet your needs. And a lot of people end up feeling very dissatisfied. And the way that people feel the need to fit into certain circumstances without even thinking about what they want. So, I don't know. I've always thought it was about addiction, especially like filling voids and, money and changing your shape just to fit in, or get what you need. But yeah, I suppose it could mean whatever the listener wants if they can connect the dots. As we've talked about in the past, we both have experience working in bars at some part in our history and our biographies. And right out of college, I would work two jobs. I'd bartend and I'd also do the start of my career, utilizing my degrees. And my brother had moved back from the West Coast and was about like 6 months away from going to Madagascar for the Peace Corps. And I got him a job bartending with me to pad some funds before he shipped off for 2 years in the Peace Corps. And this song would come on like every Friday or Saturday night when we'd be working together. And at first we used to like give each other the eye roll. And then like later in the evening, one of us would be mopping or going back to like run dishes to the kitchen, and one of us would be whistling or humming this fucking song as we were doing it, and we'd catch each other in the act. And then 2 months down the line of having listened to this song and come on, we'd be into it and moving about and like laughing and it's, I think, to me it just underscores the infectious nature that this song can have on the listener, and it definitely swallowed us both up in what was that, like 2000, 8 or 9 or whatever it was when this was popular around our area. So thanks for giving it a go, John.
It's funny you should say that, because, um, yeah, I worked for a while after college stacking shelves at night in a supermarket,
Yes, I remember that
and
hellscape you described.
yeah, and they would have the radio on. Um, we started off being able to use like our Walkmans and stuff, and then they banned that. Um, and then they had the radio on as a compromise, but the radio would stop at around about, I think, 1 or 2 a.m. And then it would still play, but there was no one manning the radio station, so they would just have a playlist,
Yeah.
which didn't alter in about 2.5 years. And some of the songs I couldn't listen to now without smashing up the place and having an adverse allergic reaction. But a couple of the songs became real favorites. Perhaps because they were early on, it wasn't at 5 a.m. This was still like 2:30. So one of them was Band of Gold by Frida Payne, which is a great song anyway. And then after that would be Me and Mrs. Jones. We got a thing going on. Billy Paul. And so those two songs are like real firm favorites. The same thing, this repetition.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
by 5, 6 in the morning, you already hate the world. You've been like awake all night. And so something like, oh God, is it called The King of Wishful Thinking or something by Go West? That would come on. Fucking hate that song. And some song by Deacon Blue as well. I never liked them either. So that really was painful. And I think if I heard it now, I'd come out in hives. So yeah, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely won us over eventually, and yeah, we succumbed to it. So songs have that power, man, and especially
Yeah.
pop songs. You know what I mean? If you can write a song that bores its way into the listener and populates the dead space when they're in the shower or doing monotonous shit at work, you've written a good song. You've written at least an effective one, at the very least. So, yeah, man, thanks for giving this a go. I'm glad it kind of, in just one listen, was able to do in a microcosm the same thing that we experienced all those years ago, with you. So, excellent stuff. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know your thoughts on Mike Snow, the song Animal, if there's any other stuff that we should check out by him, or if there's any other artists or tracks we should check out. Just feel free to shout them down in the comments field below. We will add it to our ever-growing spreadsheet for our Friday episodes. And we'll be sure that we maintain our chipping away at that list. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. Goes a long way to help us over here at the channel. Just costs you a couple seconds, and we really do appreciate it. And hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.